What's up, Tube? Let's get some live stream going on. Just bear with me while I get everything set up. Widow is live now. Alright, hey, what's up? Hey Jack, hey Marlon, what's up? Alright. Let's get cracking into it, shall we? I've got an MP7 on desk. Suppose I should probably do a test on it first before I go. So we got an MP7. We got an aluminium barrel, T-piece or two. Got a spring. Got a motor. Guess I'm going to shove all that in there. Probably just want to do a test fire or something first. I'll get a chrono. Bear with me. Alright. Got some milkies here. Keeping in mind that Milky's done chrono very high. I don't even know if this has got a battery in it. Doesn't look like it does. Right, I like a battery in it. Just gonna chuck this in here. Just gonna do it a little bit quick and rough for the test. Alright. Let's get this set up there. One of these is on. Not feeding. Why is that? Okay, there we go. We've got balls in it. There are definitely. Ah, right. I see what's going on. There's a whole bunch of chat in there. Hasn't been cleaned out from the last time. Look, see. That's what you get. See if it'll feed now. Oh, there's chat in the magazine too. Right. Oh, we got one firing out just then. Oh, go on. Not feeding real well, this thing. Not a happy camper, the MP7. Why is it so? T-piece, it's mags in there. Don't know what's going on. Oh well. Looks like we're pulling it apart anyway. Not quite sure what's the problem with this. Don't really know the history there. don't really know what's going on with it, so I guess we won't test it before we pull it apart because it doesn't appear to be working at all. So much for that idea. Alright, well, I guess we'll have to get it to work and upgrade. Damn, I'm in the middle of cooking dinner. It's alright. It's alright, John. I'm sure we'll be around for a while. And you can always catch the rerun. Alright, I'll take this foregrip off. Gonna be one of those imperial sizes. No, it's a 3mm. Alright. Should do the... No, it won't. Go take it all the way out. Apparently the MP7, well, it might love the Milkies when it's working. Doesn't appear to be working too well at the moment, which I guess is why it's landed on my desk. It's generally what happens when blasters arrive on my desk. It's because they're unhappy. They're either unhappy or their owners are unhappy with the performance of them. One or the other. Goes right in front of the laptop. Is there anything better? Alright. Let's drop this stock out. This stock has got to be one of the coolest stocks I've seen on any blaster for what it's worth. What's your opinion on the Gen 9? I wish I had an opinion because mine hasn't arrived yet. As soon as I get it, I'll give you an opinion. You can be sure about that. But yeah, as I was saying, this stock on the MP7 is one of my favourite stocks because that's steel bars. I do love this the MP7 blaster. This particular one has had a bit of work in the paint department. I like the idea of the Gen 9. I've seen like pictures of it, and it looks to me like it's a Gen 8 in a AEG style gearbox housing with a nylon body. One of the cool things for me with the body that I can tell, only from pictures, it looks like you'll be able to screw a handguard directly onto the front, and you'll be able to put the AEG style pistol grips onto the bottom of it, which means I'll be able to get one of these marksman style pistol grips onto it because it's got the AEG. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. It's got the AEG interface there. I need some light. Let's get some light. That might help. Yeah, that one. So yeah, it just opens up opportunities for different mods, which I like. I like the opportunities for more mods. All about more mods. All right. I don't believe I've had one of these apart yet. I mean, I've got plenty of these style of gearboxes. I'm imagining that it's got, you know, one of these in here somewhere. Probably somewhat like that, I'm going to imagine. We'll see. Doesn't seem to be playing the game at the moment. The balls weren't feeding. I imagine that the nozzle's not moving back and forth in there the way it should be. All will be revealed once it's open. Now, interestingly, I only have 3 screws out of this thing so far. That makes 4. No, there's more than that. At least there should be. Five. Can't seem to feel any down in these other holes. Unless they're not there to begin with. There's one. Are you going to continue your scar build? Yeah, man. Yes. Do I want to continue my scar build? Hell yes, I want to continue my scar build. On that, I've got parts. I've been waiting on parts for the scar. That's why I haven't been continuing it. So we've got all of these ready to go into it. We've got this nylon box ready to receive all those parts. What else have I got? I've got aluminium barrels ready for that. T-pieces. What am I waiting on? Waiting on a few things. I've got an aluminium charging handle for it as well, which is cool because the plastic ones are pretty weak. But yes, I will be continuing with that one very soon. Oh, gears. That's what I don't have. I don't have gears. I'm waiting on a set of metal gears, so that I can put that gearbox together for the scar. That's what I'm waiting on. But as soon as that arrives, I will be doing that. And yes, I do want to do it, but all these other blasters for other people are taking priority at the moment, unfortunately. But it is on the cards. Haven't forgot about it. Don't worry about that. Do you clear coat after spray painting? I didn't paint this, by the way. This is not mine. This is not my work. And no, I don't clear coat. Alright, so it looks like I've got all the screws that I can get out of this out. I think maybe some of the additional paint is holding this together. It's almost glued from the amount of paint that's on this thing. But that's alright, it will come apart eventually. Sup, Michael? Welcome to the feed. Having a good Thursday night. I'm doing Thursday night because I'm really busy for the next like 4 days, 3 or 4, 3. Well, I'll call it 3 days, 3, 4 days. So I'm not going to be able to get a Friday night feed on. Sorry. But there's got to be a screw left in here, because that's not coming apart. And can't get that screwdriver down in there, so it must be a tiny one. I'll go with this one. Oh, yeah, that feels good. Alright, there we go. One tiny screw in there. Alright, so what is up with this blaster? Let's find out, shall we? So, get that out of the way. Trigger is, oh, alright, okay, yep, cool. So, the trigger on these ones is not actually in the gearbox, it just presses on a little micro switch to turn it on. There's a few balls all through this thing. Now, for whatever reason, this didn't appear to be moving. This didn't appear to be cycling when I was trying to fire it. What I will do is test it again. Yeah, okay. There's what's going on. Did you see that? This piece here is cycling, but this is supposed to pick that up. This is supposed to, when this goes forward, let's see if I can do it. Alright, so that is when it winds back, it's supposed to catch that one so that when it goes, it should pull that back. So it kind of pulled it back. It's hit and miss as to whether it pulls that back or not. So this piece would appear that something's not quite right with it, and it's not hooking up on this one. It's hard to see what's actually happening there because it's quite fast. It's not hooking up on that. So the spring on this might need to be tweaked. So that's hooked now, but then it's like it's almost moving so fast that it's not picking that up. It's not drawing back that nozzle. Spring on that seems very tight as well. What is going on here? When are you going to modify your Halo blaster? Yeah, again, Gary, when I've got time. I'm flat out these days. But you know, when I'm trying whenever I've got the time. I'm gonna have a look at this one. This one runs on the same system, more or less. So with this one, it goes forward, hooks up under that. That seems to have a not as heavy spring. That seems quite sprung. It doesn't seem very springy there. That should be, I think that spring needs to be looked at. I think that spring's got to be wound around again because there's nowhere near enough pressure coming down on that. Alright. Overclocking. First thing is first. We need to. I'm just going to take these wires off so I can get rid of this thing. I hate trying to deal with stuff with wires dangling off it. It just makes it more difficult than it needs to be. This trigger sit in there, and this spring actually sits in there. It's an interesting return spring. It doesn't seem to be the most efficient spot for it, but that's how it was. So that's how it is. At least with this particular spring arrangement, it doesn't really, because it's not actually in the gearbox, it's literally just pushing on a switch. Doesn't really need a heavy return spring or anything. Mag terminals. Make sure they're all nice and clean and everything. Pretty simple little blaster, this. Straight to the point, just gearbox and switch. This switch might actually need to be upgraded. I don't know if this switch is going to handle the 11 volts. It looks like it's only a very low amp switch. Fortunately, they're easy enough to replace and they're cheap. I've got some solder on here. What blaster is it? It's an MP7. Yes, correct. Alright, I'm just gonna take these off. And take these off. It's just so much easier to deal with when you don't have wires and things dangling. It's just nice. If you want to be honest, the factory soldering was probably chatty anyway, so I'm probably doing it a favor by redoing it later on. I'm actually going to put a different motor in this anyway, so yes, whatever. Alright, move this out of the way. I like chunky watches. I like chunky watches too, can you tell? Can you tell? It's a Miyota movement, which comes from Japan. It's often used in Seiko and other Japanese watches, but this particular one resides in a rip curl. Reasons unknown. I just like it. I like the look of it. Not particularly a huge fan of the brand or anything, but It is what it is. Now, these earlier gearboxes don't have the spring release out the back of them. So basically, when you take them apart, they shoot apart. So something you got to keep in mind when you're taking these apart. Hold them together so they don't fly apart when you take them apart. And then when you're putting them back together, you've got to wrestle them in, especially if you're doing a spring upgrade. What motor? For the 401. I've got a motor on the way. It's from Gel Ball Mod, and I think it's a. Look, I'll be honest. I just messaged Gel Ball Mod and said, "Hey, I want the most hectic motor for the M401." And he just said, "Yeah, sure, no problems. I'll send it to you." So I don't know the exact motor. I think it's blue. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know the exact specs. How much is shipping? It depends. It depends. I think the last thing I got shipped was like $17 US for shipping. It's kind of annoying that they have everything in US dollars. I know, but it is what it is. Yeah, this gearbox is going to come shooting apart any moment now. I'm just waiting for it to happen. Just because it's on a live stream, it's definitely going to do it. Concentration. It seems way too well put together. Like, this bit should have come apart by now. I think a bit of this paint is holding it together. I might have to just pry it apart a little bit at the bottom. And watch the springs fly. Alright, so we're apart. Hey, I can do this. I think I can do this. Aha! Alright. Now it's not going to fly apart. Although, the gearbox is still quite solidly together. The fact that it's got overspray all over it doesn't help. It's held together a little too well. Like, it's unusually well held together. Not usually held together this well. I feel like this should just pop apart. There's definitely no additional screws in it. Although it wouldn't be the first time I've seen gearbox housings actually glued together. So at the factory they screw them together and they just put a dab of glue on some of the corners for some reason unknown. And you just have to sometimes just crack the bits of glue and then it comes apart. There you go. Alright, so it's always good when your shafts stay on one side and your gears stay on the other. It's unusual. Interesting though. They're a tight fit. Alright, so what do we got here? We have seems like that doesn't want to do that, does it? See that? Oh, am I off camera? My God, I'm off camera. It's not the T-piece, my man Nick. Look at this. Can we focus on this? Is this going to focus? Look at this. So this is meant to pick up here and draw that back. But look. It's only ever so slightly sometimes popping back over that. So some sort of issue with this plunger. I think. Oh, look, that works. Oh no. Look, it really needs to come forward with a lot of pressure to go over there. Seems to be working now. I think there might be a little bit of shmoo in the end of this. Maybe. I'll clean that out. Talk about the well M4. Yes. Why the upgrade on this MP7? Because the guy who owns it wants a little bit more kick out of it. Is there any other reason? Not really. Old MP7. Yes, it is the old MP7. Have you got a Chrono? How did I tell you had an issue? Well, I had an issue when I tried to Chrono it and no balls came out. Alright. It seems like, I don't know if this plunger is pushed forward a little bit too far on the thing or whether it just doesn't want to Doesn't want to click in every single time. I wonder if it's an alignment thing. It's actually in the rails properly. Not asking why so much as I have one, there seems to be almost no upgrades for it. True story. There just doesn't seem to be any upgrades for it, does there? Just doesn't seem to want to grab that, does it? I got a feeling that when it receives the new spring, it's gonna push that forward a bit harder, and it's gonna want to grab that a bit better. I could be completely wrong. I hope I'm not. All right. New T-piece alloy barrel flatline hop up does wonders for it. What is the flatline hop up? Is that a Beast Pro thing? Because I have the Beast Pro 2018 hop up. I've got the alloy barrel here, and I've got new T-piece for it. In fact, I got two T-pieces for it for some reason. Not sure why, but there it is. It's provided to me. Yeah, well, we're going to do that anyway. Put the alloy barrel in. Put the new spring in. I might dyno the spring for shits and giggles. Do you want me to? I will. Alright, so this is the old spring that came out. Just whack it on the dyno. Alright, I'm going to have to take this out of here. Alright. We're looking at a 9.2. And bear with me. And the upgrade is an 11.4. Believe it or not. So, I would probably suggest against that, because I think that spring's probably going to tear it apart. I might see what else I've got in my Boxo springs. I don't think going from a 9 to 11 is a real great idea. 9, 10.3, 9.8, 12.5, 10, 11.6, 9.5, 12.3. I might put a let's see a 10. 11.3, 10.3. I might put a 10.3 in it because I think that's probably going to be more realistic. I think that 11 might tear it apart. See that I label all my springs because it just makes it easier. I know what's up. I might put that one in. Okay, and the alloy barrel, I'll get that ready to go. This little piece is going to have to come off of it. It's easy enough. And that's probably going to go onto here. And that would be why this MP7 has a special barrel, because they've skimmed this down on a lathe by the looks of it, just really roughly. So that sort of just squeezes in there. And that's going to go in there. Now, there doesn't appear to be any sort of... Oh yeah, righto. I'm just going to hot glue that in there because I like hot glue. Just waiting for my hot glue gun to heat up. I know it's riveting viewing. It's almost threaded. Yeah, it's just sort of, it's just really roughly been chucked in the lathe and just zoom. What type of metal gears do you prefer to use? They're all more or less the same. I know you can get like the airsoft grade ones, the SLS ones, which are probably better, but look, if you're breaking, if you got these type of just cast sort of generic ones, and you're breaking them, then you've got bigger problems. And if you're breaking them on a gel blaster, you got bigger problems. I mean, if you're breaking, let's face it, if you're breaking metal gears, you've got a problem with your gearbox. It's not because your spring's too tough. It's because your gearbox is shit. Like, that's what it comes down to. Get a shim job. Ha, I said it. All right, so I'm gonna take this motor out too, because I got this one. It's blue. I don't know if that makes it better. All right, that's interesting. Yeah, why would you have done that, China? They've actually made it so that you can't remove the motor without bending this pin. It's not very fun. And that's the positive one for what it's worth. Let's pop that pinion gear off the old motor, pop it onto the new one. These ones are just a press fit. Just push on. Got a little keyway on the shaft, so they just push on and fit in there. Don't say shim and shmoo in the same sentence. I just did. Did I ruin your night? Shmoo the shim. Shim the shmoo. Alright. Does this little motor fit into this gearbox? Only just. It's a nice fit though. Alright, so in order to get this into the gearbox, you've got to bend this terminal, which is, it's a little bit rough, but that's the way it's designed for some reason. So now that it's in there, I can bend it back up again. And that also happens to be the only thing that stops this motor from turning. I know this must be riveting for all you guys, all 15 of you, but I love you all. I love you, and I thank you for joining me tonight, because otherwise I'd be bored. Actually, I doubt that I'd be bored. I have so much stuff to do. Bored is something I don't have time for. Always find something else to do. Alright, so this shaft on this gear. And get it into that. Try and get the shaft into the hole. That's what we're always trying to do. Always trying to get that damn shaft in the hole. Alright. Anti-return spring. How far down can that shaft go? Can it go deeper than that? It can go deeper, I'd like it to. Alright. Put this no return. On-return ratchety thing back here. Well, that all seems to be in there quite nice. Next thing I'm going to do is heat up the barrel. And I'm doing that because it's aluminium. If you've ever tried to hot glue aluminium, you know that it doesn't work. So, just going to heat this up. Hey, listen to this. Can you hear it? You can play a tune on it. Silicon works good, yeah. I don't like silicon because it's kind of permanent. I'm here because I've been wondering how to upgrade these things. Well, I'm glad you are. Alright, now that that's warmed up a bit, I'm just going to squeeze a bit of the old hot glue on there. It's warm, and while it's still warm, yeah, push it in there, and that will work. Turn that glue gun off, get it out of the way. If you're wondering how to upgrade these things, Gen 8 M4A1 today. All the upgrade options led me to your channel. Yes, I'm glad to see you here. This is the second best Gel Blaster channel on the internet. Welcome. Alright, so I'm going to get this return spring over that. I'm not convinced that this is a standard return spring. It just seems really, really stiff. The angles don't seem right. Like, this looks like a Gen 8 return spring. I don't know, yeah. Not really. Blasters with unknown histories. One of my specialties. Alright, so now this comes forward. Bam. What? I feel that that should be pushing forward harder or something. Center that pin because it's not centered very well. Not that I think that's the issue. Alright. I'm going to pop this spring in and we'll see how it goes. I might see if I can do this thing. Yeah, I reckon I can do that. Alright, so we're going to make sure that all the shafts line up. That non-return spring looks like a troublesome unit. I kind of wish all this paint wasn't here. It's so much easier to see what you're doing. What is the best? The best what? Busy bench. Great to see what upgrades available. SKD mag fed Glock. That Glock's one of those things that's it's a bit like, what can you really upgrade on it? Like, you can do a spring, but like, I don't know, there's not a whole lot of other stuff you can actually upgrade on it. It's all right, that seems to be coming together. All right, now that's together, I'm going to work a couple screws in where the motor is so that the gearbox doesn't fly apart. And then I'm going to try and squeeze the spring in from the back. See if that works. Should work. That's alright, that works quite well. Am I off camera? Sorry if I'm off camera. Do try to do all this stuff on camera so you guys can see, but it also makes it incredibly difficult for me to do. So I can see. Alright. We'll see how this goes, and if this doesn't implode, maybe I will put the bigger spring in. Think about it, hey? And customer wanted the bigger spring. Everyone always wants the bigger spring though. Everyone always wants more power, more spring. Same as metal ones on eBay. What are you talking about? Metal bend, metal barrel, and that is also a hop up. Sounds like a good idea. Oh, is that the one with the metal slide on the top? The whole slide is metal. Have you seen that one? Because that one looks pretty real. Like, as you say, a little too real. Alright, so let me get this thing back over here. Get the iron on again. I think I've got an M4, a Jingming M4A1 that's got to have like a spring or something chucked in it next. So if you guys are keen after I've finished with this one, I might chuck that on the bench. Does spring help accuracy and range? Well, it's not a simple question, because I mean, if you want longer range, and obviously you need a more powerful spring, but there's a lot more to it than just chucking a massive spring in it, because like if you just chuck a massive spring in it, then you can actually create a lot of turbulence, which can decrease accuracy, which a lot of people can't get their head around. Yeah, there's a lot of physics in these things. You don't want, I mean, you want power obviously to be able to get a decent range, but you don't want so much power that you're creating a lot of turbulence and therefore just wasting all your power, kind of thing. So if your ball comes out in a big burst of turbulent air, it's just going to go all over the shop. So yeah, sure, you might have like awesome power, but can't hit anything because it's not accurate enough. The same token, there's no point having something that's like super duper accurate if you can't shoot very far as well. So I mean, you do need a little bit of power. Don't need to have like ridiculous amounts of power. Like, I mean, I make powerful blasters because people ask me to. I think 300 FPS is the most you would ever really need. Like, there's also a lot of shops out there that are just selling upgrades because people want lots of upgrades. So like just people are saying, I want upgrades, and so they're like, so yeah, buy this. Awesome, and off they go, buying that upgrade. Do they need it? Probably not. But it's what they want, so they get. Customer gets what the customer wants. Alright, let's see if this thing works. That's promising. Well, the fire rate's definitely going to be increased if I can get that thing to actually hook up. Which it is not doing right now. I'm not convinced that that's the correct spring. I don't know if that's what's causing the drama here, or it shouldn't, because like, I mean, it's pushing home, so I might just try one of these standard springs and see if that makes a difference. I'm not an expert in this particular gearbox. I mainly deal with Gen 8s because that's where the fun is. But I mean, at the end of the day, they're all very similar. Alright, let's try this the other way. Hooking springs over things. It's got to be one of the most annoying jobs in all of the gel blaster world. Alright, let's see if that makes any difference. Not really. So something's not quite right with this. I don't know why this isn't hooking up. that could hook up, that would have some awesome fire rate. Don't really see any reason why it's not hooking up. I wonder if... Is there something that pushes down on this when this is in the gear? There isn't, is there? This sits in there. In fact, it's actually upside down, so it's kind of got gravity working against it. That spring is pretty tough. It's a bit of a mystery, this one. I wonder if... that needs to go forward. Maybe the shell helps. I don't think the shell does help. I'm looking at the shell and it doesn't, like the shell, it goes in there. I don't think the shell actually does anything here. There's nothing in here at all. It's just an empty, there's nothing in that part of the shell. Seems to be all dictated by this spring, which doesn't seem very strong here. This one seems a lot stronger. I don't know the history of this blaster, whether this has been played with or not. Seems like it kind of wants to sometimes, but so if this was in the blaster, I mean, if it's in the blaster, it doesn't, I guess it doesn't bounce up and down as much. Yeah, I'm not convinced. But I think I know what might help. But I might have to cast this one out for a little bit, because I think that's going to take a little bit more time than I've got tonight. So I'm going to put that aside and crack out the M4. There could be some overspray. Like I don't know if you guys can see this, but like it just needs to hook onto that bit there. Doesn't seem to want to do that, and this spring here just doesn't seem to be strong enough to be forcing that thing down. I'm gonna have to tweak it a little bit later. I'll put this aside for now because I've got an M4 that we've got to do, and that's probably going to be beer. I wish. That's probably going to be a bit more interesting anyway. I know you guys like M4s. I like the M4s. Let's get rid of this shit. When you have to devote more time to something than you could be bothered for during the live stream, it's just time to let it go and move on, I think. I'll fix it up later. Alright, M4. Are you guys familiar with this one? You might have seen it pop up before on the live stream. This is actually the one that that had the Beast Pro. M4 stock trigger broke. 2% super glue work to trim. Yeah, just needs to be longer. File it a bit. I don't understand how your logic of filing it could make it longer. Dig up. Alright. Let's got this one here. It looks pretty. Looks pretty. You might have seen this before. AR-15. Everything is an AR-15. What's up, Drifter? It is an AR-15 technically. It's in the same family. AR-15 is just a civilian version of an M4. Alright, let's get rid of this. And this mag, which incidentally is awesome because it's metal. I need to undo these grub screws on the back here for this stock, which is of course an American size of 3/32. I think that's the size. Is that what it was? 3/32. Something weird like that. What are you doing, Drifter? Why aren't you like over here with like a case of cider or something? You could always do that, you know. There's still time. Now it is stronger somehow. The glue made it stronger? MP5 V2 just yeah, I'll tell you the story with the selector switch. So you have to put it into auto when you take it apart, and then when you put it back together again, put it in auto again. I think that's usually the case with most blasters. All right. Would love you want to cuddle with me? I don't know. Generally, yeah, generally it's got to be in the auto position. Took mine apart for the first time, and now you just made me realize fucking select switch doesn't work. Oh, Drifter. I apologise everyone who watches me do this and then tries to do it themselves and then can't do it. I do apologise. It took me a little while to work out that it's not as easy as it looks. I do this often enough to make it look really easy. I don't mean that in a arrogant way, but I remember the first gearbox I pulled apart and I was like, wow, this is really complicated. Now it's just like I'll do like 5 of them in 15 minutes or something. It's just I don't know, it's one of those things. The more you do, the better you get at it. Do you see that spring run away? It just left. Exit stage right. Or is it stage left? Because it's my right, which would be, I don't know. Like, it's not terribly complicated, but if you don't really know what you're doing, it can be a bit of a nightmare. Right, so one of the reasons I'm here is because this barrel got to come out. This barrel got to go in. And Alright, alloy barrel. Just trust me on that one. Alloy. Spring. We'll do a spring while we're here. What's the point of even coming here if we're not going to do a spring? Alright. That's like a 9, I think. I'll just dyno it just quickly, off camera. You can send your what? What are you sending? Yeah, that's a 9. Vector V2 mods. Yeah, I got a Vector V2 on the way. Should come. Yeah, like the Vector, the back of it opens up and you're done. Job done. Thanks for coming. Alright. I might whack a 11 or a 12 in here. This one's pretty good. What else have we got? 12. Oh, it's probably a little bit hectic. I want to make it punch a little bit, but we don't want it like too hectic, do we? 11.6. Oh, that might be just the ticket. Let's do that one. What are our predictions for this blaster? If I chuck it on the Chrono, I just chucked it on there right now. As soon as this is together, what's it gonna Chrono at? $295. It's gonna shoot a job all out. Yeah, it'll probably do that. I reckon that's a fairly good prediction. It's the safest prediction. $240. $240. I reckon that's. I'm gonna go with 280. I reckon it's gonna be up there. 280, 11. Yeah, I reckon 280. I'm gonna go with 280. I don't know. We'll see in a moment. $270 to $290. Yeah, cool. Yeah, Justin, it doesn't. Shoots like 185 stock, so yeah. I actually should have chronoed it stock before I did the spring. I have a habit of doing that. Of forgetting to chrono until after I've done the mods and then not knowing actually what it chronoed at stock in the first place. I know I've watched videos on YouTube of people chronoing these things at 230 or 240 or something out of the box. Mine doesn't. Mine never have. Mine sits around the 200 mark stock, like 180, 190, 200. I've never seen one chrono. I think the best one I've seen is I think a 220 stock. That was the absolute best, and there's reasons behind that as well. The reason is that not every single Gen 8 is identical. Like, that's why I measure the springs. I've got some stock Gen 8 springs here. If you haven't seen my spring video, then you should probably watch it. Like, I think that's a stock Gen 8 spring, and that is also a stock Gen 8 spring. Two stock Gen 8 springs. Can you see the difference in length? There's like a huge difference in length. So this one's obviously going to be the one that's pushing 220. And this one's probably closer to 185 or something like that. They're just so different. Have you got one stock? Yeah, I do actually. I could just do that. That'd be logical, wouldn't it? Don't bring logic into this. Doesn't really always make sense though, because just because this one is stock doesn't mean that it's going to be the same as what this one was stock, but you know, whatever, let's try it. It's also worth noting I'm going to be chronoing with Milky's. Milky's always chrono lower than every other ball. Where did I put my chrono? There it is. Alright. Put the mag in first. There we go. $207. $186. $208. That's good enough for me. I'm not going to waste much more time on that. Just clearing the chamber. All right, so around about 200 something out of the box. There you go. Yeah, there it is. Out of the box, brand new. just unpacked it. 200. So let's whack this back together real quick, and then stick it on the Chrono with the same balls, same everything, same mag. Maybe guessing if you just bought that in the last few days, it may be the same batch as mine. Probably not. I've had that one sitting around here for, I don't know, a couple of months. Probably. It's been sitting around here for a little while. So those Chronos calibrate self-test. I can't find a way to calibrate it. So if there's a way to calibrate it, I don't know how to do it. I've been told that my Chrono reads lower than everyone else's because everyone else seems to be getting like way higher readings than I do on mine. Like 240s out of the box and stuff. I've never seen a 240 out of the box on a Gen 8. 220 is the highest I've ever seen out of the box on a Gen 8. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. But, I mean, for comparison purposes, if I'm comparing my Chrono to my Chrono, then it's a baseline. Where can you get a replacement handle? Can buy them from the internet. Yeah, I probably would recommend somewhere like Playful Bag. That sort of place has handles and things. Got a screw in there, I don't know. No, I do have one. Where's the final screw go? Alright, that's where I have a screw and everything. It's quite likely that screw was just already sitting on my bench from a previous blaster. All the screws are in. Alright, let's chrono this thing. Test it. Good. Predictions were predictions were flat battery. Yeah. Well, that was a 226. It's not that great. Not that great an improvement from if it was a stock 200. Mind you, I don't know what this was stock, so. A lot of timeouts, which generally happens when the ball breaks the first beam but doesn't break the second beam. Which could mean that either my chrono is a bit dirty or I'm not shooting at the right angle. There we go. 236. 212. Jeez. 220s. It's definitely got some power. It's like it's smashing the bottom of that box. Like, I don't know if you guys could see that, but it's tearing a hole in it. $241. What was the prediction? I've got bloody gel chad all over me and my bench now. I don't usually chrono on the bench. I usually chrono around the corner so that I don't get all this shit all over my bench. But I couldn't be bothered moving the camera. 240. There you go. Yogi wins. I was expecting a bit more from that, to be honest. Holy shit, is it accurate though? It's nice. Probably what, 7 to 10 meters away from a 30 centimeter target, and it's pretty accurate. Not no hop up or anything, just the aluminium barrel. Does make a fairly decent difference. Right. What is next? That's all I got. That is all I got. Clean up the bench. Put this blaster back together. And yeah, I might call it a night. Unless you guys have got something else that you want me to do. I'm sure I mentioned it before as well, but the Milkies do chrono a lot lower than other types of ammo. we done anything with the 249 yet? What, since like this afternoon when I told you I was thinking about putting a Gen 8 in it? No. So if you put a strong spring, 1.5, what causes the accuracy to drop? Turbulence. Surely those tight fit outer barrels solve a lot of that. Nope. Tight fitting barrel outers don't solve turbulence. So what you want is you want the volumetric efficiency of your cylinder and your barrel to be roughly somewhere around 1.8 to 1 ratio, so that when the ball leaves the barrel, you don't have a lot of excess pressure behind the ball still. You probably want to up that ratio to maybe 2 to 1 if you're using Milkies, or maybe yeah, because the Milkies tend to lose a lot of pressure in the barrel because they are undersized, but that also keeps them more accurate. So you want, if you've got, when the ball leaves the barrel, if you've got a lot of pressure blasting out behind it there, like say you build yourself a 300 FPS blaster, and then out you get like lots of air blowing out the barrel behind your ball as it comes out. It causes excess turbulence, which messes up the travel of your ball, which in turn affects the accuracy. The other thing is a hop up. Put a hop up on the end of the barrel, and that's gonna give you a much greater accuracy as well, and distance, because it is all about backspin. It's all about the backspin. You can have all the power in the world, doesn't get you all that much more distance. It's all about Magnus effect. If you've ever watched those videos where they drop a basketball off of a dam, have you seen them? Magnus effect, it's a real thing. And that's what gets your balls going further. Scar update, dude. If obviously you weren't here at the start of the video when I said Scar update is coming, but I'm still waiting on parts. I'm waiting on a gear set. Once I've got a gear set, I will be able to build the gearbox and do that thing. More power, need a longer barrel? Yes. See, if you've got more power and you've got a longer barrel, then yeah, that pressure decreases as you get further along the barrel, and therefore you get less turbulence by the time it exits the barrel. And so you will, yes. It is, there's a balancing act. You can calculate the volumetric efficiency of your cylinder and your barrel, and then if you work that out, and then you can like tweak your FPS to suit the most efficient setup so that you can get the best results from your hop up and distance and not get turbulence at the end of the barrel and all that sort of stuff. It's a fine balancing act. Well, you thought hop ups were just cosmetic? No, they definitely help accuracy. It's all about the hop up. Did you just say more bigger barrel better? No. I don't know where you got that idea from. And that's the thing. That's never a rule. Bigger is better is not a rule. Because like you might think the more powerful the better, and yes, to a point. So you get to a point where you want more power, but then there's a point where like getting more power than that is actually detrimental to your progress. So yeah, it's a matter of finding that spot, and I'm not even certain that anyone knows what that is. So yeah, it's at this point it's all trial and error because there's no one who really has a real good idea about how gel blasters work. Like no one knows, and that's why I do these videos, because I'm finding out for myself. And there's a lot of people out there that know a lot of stuff about airsoft, and they try to relate the airsoft physics and calculations to gel blasters, and to a point that works, but only to a point. And then there's a point where they're two completely different animals. A gel blaster is not an airsoft gun, and therefore airsoft techniques and theories don't work. Gel balls distort in the air, they distort in the barrel, they have chunks cut out of them sometimes by improper feeding, and that BBs are hard and they don't deform, and so there's a lot of principles which apply to airsoft hop-ups and that sort of things, which just don't work for gel balls. And the same can be said for like the barrels and that sort of stuff. Like they can have tighter barrels, and gel balls don't work that way. If you have a tight barrel with a gel ball, it just shreds the ball. There's all sorts of things that are very, very, very similar in between airsoft and gel. Like the gearboxes are very, very similar. A lot of the gears are interchangeable, but that's about where the similarities stop. Like I don't like comparing gel blasters to airsoft. And you get a lot of people who are like getting all the airsoft stuff. It's like, yeah, this thing's like really awesome for airsoft. All the pro airsofters have this MOSFET, so I want it on my gel blaster, and it's just like, you don't need it. It's not even a thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's my rant. While I'm ranting, these batteries are shit. Do not buy them. They're terrible. Yeah, just so you know. Airsoft springs much stronger than gel ball springs. Yes. Why should you not buy these batteries? Because they're absolutely terrible. They're, for starters, what it says on the label is a load of crap. It actually says 1800 milliamp hour. These things are 700 milliamp hour at best, and the voltage sag is terrible. The voltage sag is like so bad. I'm pretty sure these are fully charged, and like the voltage, this is fully charged 11 volt battery, and the voltage sag is so bad that I'll probably might not even get a few rounds out of this. I know I'm off camera, so bear with me. Okay, it shot a few rounds. There we go. She's dead. That's it. That's all. I'm pretty sure that was fully charged. That's all I'm going to get from that battery. So, yeah. What a, like, poor battery. Alright, 10G airsoft batteries are good. They black ones are not bad. Yeah, airsoft batteries for the win, for real. Turnigy batteries for the win. Anything Turnigy. I mean, these ones don't actually fit in the stock. That's so yeah. These are good, but they don't fit. They're good for scars, like chuck the little Turnigy lipos in scars. They're awesome. No, these are 11 volt. This thing's supposed to be 11 volt too, but it's 11. It is 11 volts, but it's like pathetically small. You know your batteries. You know your battery is going to be pathetic if this is an 11 volt battery and your 7 volt battery is actually physically bigger. You know, like if that's just 7 volt or 8, what is it? Yeah, 7.4 volt. So if that's your 7 volt battery and that's your 11 volt battery and the 11 volt battery is smaller, yeah, it's going to be shit. This is the size an 11 volt battery should be, if it's going to be a size of anything, because that's 2 cells and that's 3 cells. If this is 3 cells, they're 3 incredibly small cells, which it obviously is. But yeah, they're poor, very poor. At least it's got one thing going for it. It actually fits in the stock. The Turnigy Airsoft 1.2 or whatever, they're good. Do not buy these. They're garbage. If you've got anything more than a slightly mild spring, they will last you not even a mag. Like I didn't even get it. That was an empty mag that was in this thing. It didn't even like fire out the last dregs of what was in that empty mag. Yeah, the black, that's homemade. Yes, it is. And when I say homemade, you know the story with these, right? You know these are just 18650s. You guys know that, right? So these are 18650s. If you're familiar with 18650s, they're in everything. Bear with me. This is an 18650. This is a Samsung 18650. So that is it. It is a battery. It's actually a cell, I should say. It's a cell, not too dissimilar to a AA or a AAA, but just slightly bigger. And it's lithium ion, which makes it 3.6 volts nominal. That is the size of it, and that is one cell. One cell, as I said, is 3.6, 3.7 volts nominal, and therefore 2 cells is 7.4 volts nominal. Guess what 3 cells is? It's 11.1 volts nominal, because it's 3 cells. So yeah. There it is, 1, 2, 3 cells. That is literally how it works, and that's why they call that a 1S, a 2S, a 3S. S for series, number of cells. So if this is a 3S, which it is, there's 3 series cells in there. So there's 3 cells in that battery, like there's 3 cells in this one, but they're clearly not this cell. If one of these cells is the size of 2 of these cells. These are probably really tiny little pathetic cells. Yes, they do use these in the Tesla. Actually, the Tesla's got bigger ones now. I think they use 2155s or something. But anyway, but yeah, they are what comes in your laptop. They are what comes in your drill if you've got a drill battery. If you've got a Dremel, for example, you've got a Dremel battery. See that? There's a triangle shape in that. Guess what that is? It's 3 of those things in a triangle arrangement like that. So that is why they are that shape. You can even see when you line it up next to each other. You can say, oh yeah, there's 3 of those cells in there. and you'll find that's 10.8 volts. They obviously use 3.6 volts nominal voltage measurement, whereas I think these guys use 3.7 volts nominal. So if you 3.7 per cell, you work out with 11.1 volts, or if you're 3.6, you work out with 10.8 or something along those lines. Can you buy them by themselves? These you can buy these from Bunnings. I found them in Bunnings for like $10 for two, which isn't incredibly cheap. In fact, if you want to get these cheap, go to Aldi. Buy this Xfinity 20-volt battery, and there is, guess what, 5 cells in there. There's 5 of these bad boys lined up inside there. Just crack it open and pull them out if you want cheap, because these things are cheap. You can get these, I think I've seen these for like $20 or something. $20 for 5 cells, 5 18650 cells is a good price. You might even get them on special sometimes. Hook this up to the gel gun. It would work. Be a bit over volts, but for what it's worth, they call this 20 volts. It's not 20 volts. I mean, it is. They're not lying. It is 20 volts, but the way these are read is a nominal voltage. So if I was to chuck this one onto a battery checker, it is cell voltage is going to be between 3 and 4.2 volts per cell. So it's saying it's a 3 cell, it's 12.2 volts, it's 4.7 volts per cell. So right now, even though this is an 11 volt battery, it's actually got 12 volts in it. The interesting thing is that I was talking earlier on about voltage sag. Like, these things sag like nobody's business. Like, remember before how I had it in the blaster and it just died. It was dead. It wouldn't shoot anymore. If I put this same pack in now, it would shoot. It would shoot, and it would shoot fine. I can prove that. It's the same pack that was dead before. I'm just going to point it over in that direction. And it's shooting fine. Oh, what's that? It's slowing down. You can hear it. And there it is. That's the voltage sag. Now watch me chuck this battery on this checker again. Alright, so it's now saying 11.5 volts. So that's down to almost dead. Right, and if I was to do this while it's on there. So it just dropped down to 9.8 volts. 9.8 volts it was when I was on there. Now it's 11.5 again. Now it's not on there. So that's voltage sag, my friends. Sag down to about 9.8 volts, which is pathetic. That's pretty much dead. And you'll find that if I leave this on the bench and I just sit it there for a little while, it might come back. It might come back to 12 volts. You can just leave it there for a bit and see what happens. But yeah, like, that's why those are crap. These ones don't sag anywhere near as much. They just got a much higher discharge. They're like 20 to 30 C discharge. These things are like about 1 C or half a C even. Your homemade battery, how does the wiring work? Just like any other battery, they're just all joined together in series. For what it's worth, these little balance leads just go to each cell. That's your negative, that's your positive, and then that's the cell in between. So because this is only 2 cells, there's only 3 leads. 1, 2, 3. In a 3 cell, there'd be 4 leads. So there's four wires in there. You see yellow, white, black, and red. So you'd have negative, yellow, white, and red for positive. Or in this case, I think I've wired it the other way around. So I think that's actually the negative and that's the positive. So it'll be either way. Something like that. Some of my batteries aren't in the mag, then you can get a new battery every mag. Some of the blasters do have that, you know. The Barrett blaster has got that, and I'm trying to think. I know I've seen a couple of blasters that have it. I just can't remember what they are off the top of my head. The pistol, the Mark 23, I think has that. Yeah. Just looking at these. Can you upgrade the Car 98 to shoot far? No, because it's crap. No, you probably could. You could. Yeah, I don't have one. But I reckon you'd probably break off the charging handle. Does that make sense? All right, guys. I think we've flogged this dead horse long enough. But you can see, if you look down here, you can actually see that it's just from sitting on the bench here. It has come up almost back up to 12 volts again, 11.9. You just sit there long enough, it'll come back to 12, and it'll be usable again for another 2 seconds. But it'll sag so badly that they're pretty much useless. Yeah, don't buy them. They're pretty much useless in a gel gun. Gel blaster, I should say. They're not guns. Don't get it confused. All right, guys. Thanks for chilling out with me tonight, but I gotta go. Did you just solder the wireless battery then heat shrink? Yes, that's what I did. That is correct. That's exactly what it is. All right. Just make sure I want to answer all your questions before I head off. All right, yeah, cool. Oh, that was pretty cool. I enjoy talking about lithium batteries. Video on the AMP 45. Did you mean the bolt? The bolt. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Charging handle bolt. Yeah, you know what I mean. The bolt handle. The reloading handle. I just saved you from what? Buying that Car 98. Yeah, don't. Video on the AMP 45. What do you want on the AMP 45? The battery on the Yogi Bear, what do you want to know about the AMP 45? There it is. Anyway, all right, guys. Wiring upgrades. This? Is that what you're talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Wiring install. Or you talk about my battery. This one. I don't really understand what you want. for what it's worth, all I've done with this, because the battery goes in this little compartment here usually. So this is the battery lead. There is a sling handle here. The sling handle just so happens to have a little hole in there which goes into the battery compartment. And so all I did is I just made up a little lead that goes in there. Here it is. It's just got the standard battery type connector on there. So I can have a little battery inside here that'll last 30 seconds. Or I can just plug it into this, into the standard battery lead. And then the reason I ran it through that little hole is because then I can actually connect that up, close this, and fold my stock without having to break the wire. So it comes out that little hole where the sling was, and then just, or where the sling could be, and then too much beer. Not enough beer over here. I wish someone would bring me some. Alright, gonna call it a night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you on the next time. Peace.